DD India's correspondent Amritpal Singh gets us this detailed report on Biden's visit to Israel.
Even as the meeting between U.S. President Joe Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ended here in Tel Aviv on Wednesday evening, it was an over 5-hour-long meeting attended not just by the two principals but the entire war cabinet of Prime Minister Netanyahu. Also, the American president, accompanied by his foreign minister Antony Blinken, his national security advisor Jake Sullivan, and other officials from the National Security Council.
For decades, we've ensured Israel's qualitative military edge. And later this week, I'm going to ask the United States Congress for an unprecedented support package for Israel's defense. We're going to keep Iron Dome fully supplied, so it can continue standing sentinel over Israeli skies, saving Israeli lives. We've moved U.S. military assets to the region, including positioning the USS Ford Carrier Strike Group in the Eastern Mediterranean, with the USS Eisenhower on the way to defer further aggression against Israel and to prevent this conflict from spreading.
Also, Joe Biden making it clear that he believes that Israel has a right to defend itself and Hamas must be taken out.
The vast majority of Palestinians are not Hamas. Hamas does not represent the Palestinian people. Hamas uses innocent families in Gaza as human shields.
Joe Biden gave an important message to Netanyahu that while they support Israel in its fight against Hamas.
Today I asked the Israeli cabinet, who I met with for some time this morning, to agree to the delivery of life-saving humanitarian assistance to civilians in Gaza, based on the understanding that there will be inspections and that the aid should go to civilians, not to Hamas. Israel agreed the humanitarian assistance can begin to move from Egypt to Gaza.
Also making an important and significant announcement saying that America is working with regional leaders to get the hostages freed.
To those who are living in limbo, waiting desperately to learn the fate of a loved one, especially to families of the hostages, you're not alone. We're working with partners throughout the region, pursuing every avenue to bring home those who are being held captive by Hamas.
Very significant meeting between the Israeli Prime Minister and the U.S. President, clearly indicating that there are back-channel talks and this war will go on. America will continue to support Israel. It's not ending anytime soon, but yes, they are working to get the hostages released at the earliest, and Israel will continue its military operations even as some sort of a plan of opening at least a window where humanitarian aid can go into Gaza. With cameraman SP Dubey, this is Amritpal Singh here in Tel Aviv for DD India.
Also, DD India correspondent Amritpal Singh is joining us from Tel Aviv. Amrit, good morning. We saw a very significant meeting between US President Joe Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that took place. And we also saw your report on what the US President said. And also, in light of that meeting, would you say that the situation or the things show signs of promise, show the promise of improving now?
Well, as I said in my report also that Joe Biden has said three things, that with the Israelis that they've agreed to access to allow humanitarian aid into Gaza Strip, that they are working with regional partners to get the hostages freed, and they are talking to their regional partners, which basically means that people who are in contact through back channels with Hamas are doing some negotiations. And the third thing that he put his lot with the Israelis, saying we defend their right to defend themselves, or we support their right to defend themselves. Yes, if you take that at the face of it, it is a promise. It is a promise of things getting better for the civilians in Gaza. But it's just a promise. Will it? We don't know. Because Joe Biden hadn't even left Tel Aviv, Hamas started firing rockets in Tel Aviv. as soon as President Biden left, Israel came up with a statement saying that we will allow humanitarian access only after our hostages are released. That the Red Cross will visit our hostages and gather international support to mobilize that. Third thing, that we will only allow humanitarian aid, food, till the time it is food, water and medicines, and that too will only allow it in South Gaza. And for the people who are relocating to South Gaza, basically saying they'll not allow it to in North Gaza. Now, with so many conditionalities, I do not think that it will hold. One will have to see that how things develop in the coming days, but the maximalist positions, the conditions that both sides, Hamas fired rockets, they are provoking them. These guys would retaliate. The Israelis would retaliate. The humanitarian aid, they put that unless they stop it, release our hostages, we will not give aid, will not allow aid. They have said unless they stop bombing us, we will not let the hostages go. That's what the Hamas has said. So, with so many conditionalities, basically both sides are taking maximalist positions. Joe Biden tried his hand at that, and it holds a promise. It was a very important meeting. Lasted more than 5.5 hours. Netanyahu's whole war cabinet was there. Joe Biden was accompanied by his foreign minister Antony Blinken, his national security advisor Jake Sullivan, his national security council coordinator. So given the fact that there were multiple series of meetings that Joe Biden held with different players here, clearly indicates that they have achieved some sort of an understanding, but the understanding from the Israeli kind of viewers, we will not stop military operations, and if they do this and if they do that, we will allow what we have agreed to. So that puts a whole question mark on whether things will improve. My own sense is fighting will keep going on, casualties will keep happening, and acquisitions and counter acquisitions will keep going on in the days to come.